The wall on pit road is kind to NASCAR drivers at Richmond International Raceway, but not the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. That doesn't stop the Equalizer Bigfoot duel for the world title. And everybody knows nothing scares the grave digger. Welcome to Richmond International Raceway, Monster Truck fans. I'm Scott Douglas. This is the site of some of the finest in NASCAR racing. But today, it's speed and power of another sort as the TNT Monster Truck Challenge invades historic Richmond, Virginia. Today at Richmond, Virginia, the killer walls are going to be a factor. It's a very, very tight course. The walls are right on top of these guys. Who can handle it? That's going to be a big question. And in the Bigfoot camp, Andy Brass was masterful in Louisville. Now John PIANT is back in the driver's seat. At Richmond, Virginia, a year ago, Gravedigger had a real rough run, one of the toughest all year. Watch him here as Dennis Anderson goes over the wall at the end of the race course. That shows you just how tight and just how hazardous this course can be. Armstrong is standing by to talk about the close quarters and the way these guys are going to try and handle it at Richmond International Raceway.
Well, thanks, Scott. We're back in Richmond, Virginia, where, as you well know, last year produced some of the most exciting action we've ever seen. We saw the Equalizer flip end over end on the end of the track. We saw two trucks running at the same time bounce physically out of the track. How do you bounce out of a track? It's very simple. This track is set up on the NASCAR pit road. There are walls on each side of the track. The walls that are a friend of the NASCAR pit crew, they're the enemy to the monster trucks. These walls are intimidating for these monster truck drivers. That's going to bring us up to date on the action from this week in Richmond, Virginia. But right now, I want to talk to you about the last time we had an opportunity to visit on television was a Louisville, Kentucky show. There was an incident that took place at Louisville concerning the kill box and Mike Wine. We're going to have Mike Wine himself tell you what happened at Louisville with that kill box.
Well, we had to go back out. We made it to the final rounds. We won all the way out there. It was me against Foot. It was against Andy. Got into the outside of the pit. We're getting ready, suiting up. They hand you a killer radio to go out, as you know, to kill the truck. I put a radio into position and the truck, it stalled. Took it back out, put another one in, it stalled. So they gave me one, said, just go out on the track. Just get out there. We'll worry about the radios when you get out there. So we got out there, went out, sat up on the line, put the radio box in. When I did, all my gauges kept fluttering on me. They said, gotta go, start the race. 1, 2, 3, lined us up. Me and Andy took off. Ran the track all the way around. As you know, Louisville is a figure 8 course. You got an inside and outside lane. I was on the inside lane. That means I had to be in front of Andy before I got on the other end. His man's going to catch me. You know he is. He's a strong runner. I was 3/4 of the way around the track. I looked over to my right-hand side. All my gauges went dead on me. The motor went dead. I grabbed the box. I kept physically shaking the box back and forth. And as I come up to the cars, I coasted. The motor backfired so many times until I ended up bending the valve. It was a very costly race. Not only first place, but it cost me a motor.
Also, what I'm hearing here is the fact that you feel that TNT is the one that cost you that race by having a malfunctioning box there.
Yeah, I feel it was TNT's fault for having a malfunctioning box. We're going to have to design, me and the owner, Nick Rossi, are going to design a box where when that box itself will sit into a box. So if it ever does come dislocated again or anything at all, it will at least be contained in that unit and keep it from falling off. The rivets actually came apart and fell off.
The need for a killer radio is obvious in this sport because the TNT officials have to be able to shut a truck down should it go out of control. But certainly, Mike Wine very unhappy about the killer radio possibly costing him in Louisville. Qualifying highlights right now as we get ready for racing and watch Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher almost go over. The flat tire on the back is obvious, and when we look at the replay, you're going to see just how close Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher actually came to not only landing on his roof, but if he would have landed on his roof, look at him. He'd have landed on this short retaining wall at Richmond International Raceway. Right here, he is in trouble. Bang, he almost went over on the wall. Porter gets it back down on all 4 wheels, but has to replace the tire on the back left. A big, big leap. Actually, 2 flat tires on that left side upon closer examination. So Gary Porter with big problems in the Carolina Crusher. Kris Chapman is with us, and she's going over to talk to Gary Porter about the incident.
Gary, pretty rough ride for qualifying. Is everything all right?
I think it will be. I went out and looked the course over before qualifying, and I adjusted the tire pressure where I thought it, should have been, and I guess my guess was wrong. I dropped my air pressure a little bit, so I'm going to have to put some more in it, so maybe I won't knock the tires off the rims again.
Did it just take those 2 tires? Is that the only problems you had?
Yes, I don't think it busted them. It just knocked them off the rim, broke the bead loose and bent a few shocks, and I think that's it.
We'll let you get back to work.
Okay, thank you.
Seems so unusual to be talking about a problem for the Carolina Crusher because Gary Porter has one of the most consistently strong running trucks in the sport today. And because of that consistency, he'll be back a little bit later. The season points have Bigfoot back on top. Remember, Andy Brass was awesome in Bigfoot 4 at Louisville, but John PIANT is back driving the truck today. Equalizer is 9 points behind. The Auto Value King Krunch is still a player. Carolina Crusher has drawn a bead on the top 3. Awesome Kong rounds out the top 5. Then it's the USA 1 truck holding on over the Gravedigger. Nightlife is pressing him for 7th with Outlaw and Buffalo Tremor rounding out the top 10. We're ready for first round competition in Richmond, Virginia on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Scott Douglas, Army Armstrong, and Kris Chapman with you as we look at Scott Stevens and his Auto Value King Krunch, a truck that lost a lot of that front sheet metal in a run at Louisville a week ago. His opponent is arch nemesis, Bigfoot number 4, John PIANT, back driving it today. And PIANT gets the win as Krunch is in trouble at the end of the course and ends up on the wall. Scott Stevens and the Auto Value King Krunch was straight, it looked like, coming to the end of the run, but bang, went into the wall. And that just goes to show you how tight this course is and how one little mistake is going to throw you into some big, big problems. The win, as you can see on the left of your screen, is Bigfoot, but on the right, Stevens comes off the cars just a little bit and ends up right smack against the wall. Luckily for Scott Stevens, the truck stopped at that location and didn't go over.
On a run like that, John, what do you do? Did you have any idea he was in trouble?
No, I didn't. I was concentrating on keeping my truck in a straight line. I really didn't even know where he was at.
How big a problem is that tonight? You guys seem to be taking some awfully strange bounces out there.
Yeah, I think the walls being in so close was really scaring everybody, and they were concentrating very hard into staying in a straight line. And I don't know, some of the cars are kind of a little funny, and you're getting a lot of bad bounces out there.
Let's talk about those walls. They're close. Are you guys overcompensating? Is that what keeps making you go to the middle? Because the left lane's going to the right lane's going to the left. The only difference is the walls are on the outside of this track.
Yeah, I think I definitely favor another truck instead of the wall. I think everyone is kind of going towards the inside.
John PIANT's Bigfoot got the win with a nice straight shot. There's the truck that got into trouble. The Auto Value King Krunch out of Texas and Scott Stevens. Kris Chapman's working her way over to see what happened to Scott Stevens and the Auto Value King Krunch special.
Awful bad luck out there for you against Bigfoot.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks in a row. I guess, had too good of a year going, we know bad luck will get you every once in a while. I thought it was going to be a little worse than it was. At least the truck, the back drive shaft braking kept it from maybe going over.
The wildly popular Gravedigger monster truck. Dennis Anderson from Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. Dennis has had so many mechanical problems this year, but a new Gravedigger is on the way. Eventually, lighter, better handling. Army Armstrong earlier found out about the timetable.
Okay, Dennis, this is your time of the year, really. You get outside, you get to really leg that big motor, but where's all the emphasis going to be? You going to try to put time into this truck, or are you going for the new truck?
Well, really, I've got to do both. It's hard trying to keep this truck together. The truck is so heavy, really, and the suspension's not really soft enough on it. The new truck is 4-link, and it takes a lot more work and time involved in the new truck. But it's just hard. It's hard to do it, trying to run this truck and get the new one going too. So we're just going to keep battling at it, and hopefully in 8 weeks the new truck will be ready for some testing.
First round action at Richmond, Virginia now. It's Gravedigger against Marvin Smith and the Wild Hair Chevrolet. The early lead to the Digger. Some bouncing going on, but Dennis Anderson wins it while Marvin Smith is way off course. And Marvin's had a problem staying in his own lane lately. You may remember its incident with the Clydesdale in Dallas earlier here on ESPN. Let's watch it again. It is the Gravedigger with the easy victory over Marvin Smith's Wild Hair. There's Dennis. He's with Army Armstrong. Army?
Dennis, an awfully wild run. You're notorious for making those wild, wild shots. This seems like it would not be the track for you, but you look like you're just at home out there.
Well, really, I'm not running the truck hard at all. I'm coming off the line in second and I slip it right in drive, and I just got I'm pushing the throttle down about a little over a half inch. I'm just holding it right there and trying to ride the course out. It's a pretty rough track, you know. We haven't even powered into it yet, and if I can make it last to the finals, if that's what it takes, then I'll do it in the finals.
Let me ask you a question. This is the first time I've had a chance to ask you this question this year because it's going into the second round and you're still involved in this thing. Are we looking at a new Dennis Anderson? We thinking a little bit before we go to the line? Because it doesn't look like you got it on full kill.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking a little bit, you know, but on this course here, it looks like everybody's running pretty easy. I looked at the qualifying times and how long this course is, and I thought it was some pretty slow times, you know, so all I want to do is try to stay ahead of the next guy.
Interesting that Wildhair got out of his lane, back up, and will now finish this race course. And because of other problems, he'll actually come back in the quarterfinals as the third fastest loser. Hey, those quarterfinals are next.
What's new at Dillon?
Richmond International Raceway, very close to the halfway point of the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. And so there's still a lot of races to be run, but yet anytime Bigfoot and Equalizer square off, it's a critical matchup. They're just so close in points, and that's what you have now. The Equalizer Chevrolet there, new paint job on the truck for Greg Holbrook as he goes up against the Bigfoot Ford. And now John PIANT is Bigfoot number 4. Takes the victory over John PIANT and Bigfoot. Now remember, while Bigfoot 8 is sitting out this temporary ban from TNT competition, the points of Bigfoot 4 are being added to his total. So it is a critical win for the Equalizer in the point standings to get a victory head-to-head over Bigfoot. Army standing by with Greg Holbrook.
Greg, you're coming after. You're the guy to beat tonight. How's it feel?
Feels good, Arm. You just got to get everything lined up perfect, and you can hit them wide open just like any other track.
You just helped your national points championship chase a whole bunch by putting that other blue truck out.
You're not kidding. Don't nobody get to come back in semifinals. No fast loser.
Battle of the Blues Brothers, and you won it tonight.
Thank you, Army.
The thing that stands out, Army, about that interview is that Holbrook is the first guy you talk to that has not talked about being scared of his track. It looked like Holbrook said, hey, just hit it hard. Here's Gary Porter coming out in the Carolina Crusher. We saw the problems earlier in the Crusher's qualifying. As he mentioned, he didn't actually bust any tires. He just knocked him off the rim, and he's back. Now in another lane, he may feel better as he goes up against the Wildhair. 2 Chevrolets in the quarterfinals, and it's all Carolina Crushers. One quarter you can see, and Wildhair as well, they're crisscrossing at the end because when they finish the track, they want to finish leaning to the middle, not leaning toward that wall. Wildhair on the right-hand side of your screen, Crusher on the left, and of course Crusher gets the win. The Wildhair truck actually got its frame broken in 2. There was so much made about him knocking Clydesdale on his roof in Dallas and the damage done to the Clydesdale, but the Wildhair also suffered extensive damage from that crash at Texas Stadium, and as I mentioned, Marvin Smith had to completely get a new frame. That one was broken.
Smiling Marvin Smith, close but no cigar.
I'm telling you, I'm happy though. At least we got her running again. Things been down the dumps for a long time. It's about time for her to come back, I think. We just rebuilt the whole truck after Dallas. It's almost a whole new truck. New motor, new everything. Hopefully we can get used to it and get her straightened out and start doing good again.
Quarterfinal action featuring Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger. And, you know, we mentioned earlier, Dennis is from Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. Now that's where his shop and operation is. But for so many years, Dennis was identified as being from Chesapeake, Virginia. This is the area where he has probably more fans per capita, if you will, than any place in the country. They love the Digger in Richmond, Virginia, and he really wants to do well here. The opponent is the Thunder Chicken out of Catawissa, Pennsylvania. Kid Rarick drives the chicken. Close race, but Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger holds on for the very popular victory over a strong running Thunder Chicken. Watch how close the chicken makes it, and that's why. Did you see Dennis Anderson almost leave his lane? But he got it straight, completed a legal, victorious run. And now Dennis Anderson is going to talk to Army Armstrong.
Dennis, it's going to be short and sweet. These guys have been laughing at you all year long, saying you lost the handle on it. I don't believe that's the case tonight.
No, well, that's what I'm trying to do is I'm saving the truck. I did push a little bit harder that time because, kid there with Thunder Chicken, he just loves to bury me if he can, you know. So we've always had a little grudge going from 3 years back, so I don't want him to get an edge on me.
What about the next round? One observation I made. Everybody that won this round came out of the right lane. Now, y'all can't do that next time. Somebody's going to have to go someplace different. Will that affect your driving style?
Well, it could, but, you know, I'm just going to give it the best shot in the left lane. I feel like the right lane is the best lane to shoot out of, but if not, I don't think it's going to be that much different.
When we return to the TNT Monster Truck Challenge, it's the semifinals, Equalizer versus Carolina Crusher, and Nightlife against the Gravedigger. Richmond International Raceway with the TNT Monster Truck Challenge as we're going to the semifinal round. The Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter from Wadesboro, North Carolina, the runner-up for the World Championship a year ago, now gets to go head-to-head with the truck that beat him for the World Championship last year. That's the Equalizer Chevrolet with its new rookie driver, Greg Holbrook. Holbrook replaced David Morris as the driver of that truck a few months ago and has really been getting strong. You know, the Equalizer truck was the first one in TNT competition to go to a radical new suspension to get away from the old leaf spring setup that the other trucks were set up on. And I'll tell you, that's one of the things that Bob Chandler and the Bigfoot camp is so upset about. They feel like Equalizer got to come in with a radical suspension a year ago, and they're being penalized for their radical suspension this year. The suspension holds up as Equalizer again gets a victory over the Carolina Crusher. We're going to go inside the cab with Greg Holbrook, the rookie of the Equalizer. On the replay, and you can see that Greg's getting knocked around, but this is really a fairly smooth ride for a monster truck. These guys take a severe beating in here, but that wasn't bad at all. Holbrook got a few bounces, but comes out in good shape, and he gets the victory over the Carolina Crusher. Now let's go back outside and watch the replay. And Gary Porter always pushes the Equalizer hard. It was not a great start for the Equalizer, but Holbrook really hammered it hard on the second set of cars that carries him to the victory. Now, the end zone replay will show us, boy, that Porter got himself into some trouble, corrected it pretty well, but it may have been that shot that threw him to the middle off the first set of cars that cost him the victory. The rookie wins it, Greg Holbrook, driving the truck that won it all a year ago, the Equalizer.
Well, we're standing with a little nervous driver right here, a nervous little driver. Let me get that down pat. Trying to get the helmet squared away, son. You're going to the final, and you did it the hard way. You're coming out of that left lane. Is that where you want to be?
Yeah, that's the lane I chose. Everybody, at first, it was just throwing you into the wall. If you hit them just right, it just launches you. Perfect.
You and Gary ran awfully hard. At first, it seemed like you guys were intimidated. The wall may have scared you, but now it's like, hey, we're back to just straight open racing. Is that where we are now?
Yeah, you just got to ignore it, go on. If you don't, you'll just be on a trailer.
He's not on the trailer yet. He's going to the Monster Smash Final, and he will race either that truck, the Gravedigger of Dennis Anderson from North Carolina, Kill Devil Hills, but a real popular figure in Virginia, especially since his shop was in Chesapeake for so many years. The opponent is all the way from Grand Island, Nebraska, Dave Wysorik's Nightlife Chevrolet. Now, in the Gravedigger, frankly, you have one of the older monster trucks now with everybody rebuilding and rebuilding. The Nightlife is about the newest on the circuit. This truck was just built, about a month and a half ago by Dave Wysorik. He brought it out of the shop and down to Dallas for the first time. You can see it's still got that beautiful shine and glow. It's an all-new paint job. It's an all-new truck, and Wysorik builds it, maintains it, operates it, drives it, the whole 9 yards. The Nightlife is Dave Wysorik. Semi-final, head-to-head, and it's going to be the Gravedigger. Dennis Anderson really launched it on the second set. He didn't have to because Nightlife was in trouble, but Anderson let it all hang out. Wow, watch him, not on the first set because he got a good start, but it was on the second set of cars where Dennis Anderson went full tilt boogie in the Gravedigger monster truck. I'll tell you, he kept it nice and straight. Both he and Equalizer had no problem keeping the truck straight on the second set of cars. And what's interesting to me as we head to the finals is that Gravedigger is one of the few trucks in that lane that hasn't gotten crazy.
Dennis Anderson, it's final time. You're close to home. Is there any such thing as a home court advantage?
I don't know if there's a home court advantage or not, but I'm just trying to keep my cool. In front of me, I got my whole family out here. I kind of worry my mom the way I drive. I promised to her tonight that I was going to drive like somebody with some sense, and it's working.
Well, maybe a new strategy inspired by Mom, but indeed, Dennis Anderson did not go full tilt on the first set, left himself in good shape, and hit it hard on the second set of cars as the Gravedigger rolls in to the finals against the world champion Equalizer. Army Armstrong is going to set us up for the final battle.
Well, it's final time in Richmond, Virginia, and listen to this. The kid out of Tennessee, he's going to be going to the far side. He's already told us that's the lane he likes. That'll be the Equalizer truck. And there's another kid, the kid from Kill Devil Hill, the Gravedigger, will be in the other lane. It's final time. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Richmond International Raceway in Richmond, Virginia, and the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. I'm Kris Chapman along with Scott Douglas and Army Armstrong. We're ready now for the Monster Smash, and it's going to be a great one between the Gravedigger and the Equalizer.
We're giving you some camera angles here today, and this camera is actually mounted right behind the front wheel of the Equalizer Chevrolet. The World Championship truck from a year ago. Gary Cook built the truck, operates it as the head crew chief. The driver last year was David Morris, and we documented the story here on ESPN earlier this year. Morris quit kind of in a dispute. He didn't see eye to eye with the owner, so Cook went out, got him a new kid on the block. 18-year-old Greg Holbrook. His first experience in a monster truck has been driving the championship truck. And what a job he's done. He suffered some learning blows early. Fell asleep at the wheel at the start line a couple of times. And I'll tell you, he's been rolling strong the last couple of months. And now, the Gravedigger truck. Dennis Anderson, one of the more experienced monster truck racers out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, in front of a lot of home fans, a lot of friends in Richmond, Virginia. This is for the championship. Oh, they came to the line together. Oh, look at the Gravedigger. He almost went over. Powers out of it, now slides to the end, and the Gravedigger has won it with an awesome run in front of a standing and screaming crowd at Richmond International Raceway. What a final. Let's watch it from behind the front wheel of the Equalizer. Goodness gracious, what a camera took a beating, I'll tell you that. And look at the Gravedigger in front of him. Boy, Equalizer just shut down, and so I better get out of the way. Dennis is in trouble, but the Gravedigger shut it down in time. Let's look at it again. Keep your eyes on the Gravedigger at the end. The first point to watch is the finish line, where indeed Gravedigger wins it by about a foot. Then he gets up on two wheels and powering out. Anderson hit the throttle hard, and that pulled the truck back down onto all fours. Now coming right at you, the wild, victorious run of Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger. Boy, really, he and the Equalizer almost collided at the end of the run. What a final, and what a big win for Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger.
Well, you talk about a Cinderella story. It took place in Richmond, Virginia tonight. Dennis Anderson, bad luck, maybe it's over, but when you turn around to good luck, wow, you couldn't have handpicked a better place.
Yeah, you know, Army, I've had pretty good luck the last, last 2 years out here, and I just try to keep my cool here. You know, I got a lot of Mudbog fans, guys that's known me from Mudbogging years ago, and my hometown, mom, dad, my wife and kids, everybody in the stands, and they really want me to win, you know, and I want to win too, but you know, we pulled it off and made it to the finals, and I really couldn't do it without Crowler cams, TCI torque converters, Creative Glass for fiberglass body parts, and M30 hand cleaner.
You know, it's really amazing. It takes a lot of people to make these teams work, and believe me, a bunch of people are on your team tonight. Congratulations, Dennis. A well-deserved win.
All right, thanks a lot, Army.
Equalizer may not have won the